What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a Hasbro Star Wars The Vintage Collection Market Update. Not a ton of interesting data that has sold over the last week, but I did find enough to put together this video for you. I know you guys like your TVC updates, so here we go. Before I dig in, though, I want to say thank you to two new Patreon supporters, Dominic Manette and Nathan Schleter. I hope I'm pronouncing both of your names correctly. They just became Patreon supporters. I really appreciate everyone who is on the Patreon team. You guys allow this channel to happen and for me to produce the amount of videos I do. So thank you so much to both you guys. I really appreciate you joining. And for those interested, my Patreon is patreon.com/actionfiguregrader. Let's dig into some fairly interesting data. As I mentioned, there hasn't been a ton of really big sales in the vintage collection on eBay, at least that I could find after doing about a 30-minute search. And I don't know if it's because there's been so much awesome stuff that has been hitting retail lately and people's collecting funds are tied up with buying all the new releases or some of the pre-orders that have dropped here recently. I don't know, but it does seem interesting that there has been a somewhat of a drop-off, especially in TVC 1.0 that has sold here over the last week. And it makes you wonder if the rumors or the impending doom of plastic-free packaging is making people reevaluate how much they want to spend on the vintage collection versus other lines of Star Wars figures or anything else that you collect. So I don't know the answer. So time will tell whether that this is just kind of an anomaly or maybe I just didn't do my search as well this time. But let's dig in. This is VC01. This is Dengar. And as we know, he is heavily rumored, as according to Yak Face post, that he's heavily rumored to be coming back in a reissue. And this one was not mint by any means. You can see all the wear at the hang tab on the front as well as on the back. There's some pretty heavy scratches, probably like 80 grade condition at best. Yet that's still sold for $100. So that's probably about right, quite honestly. VC01 typically can command anywhere from 150. I've seen as high as 200, 225 for really primo examples. So $100 for one that has some wear is probably not too far off, but I would say that if you are one of those collectors that don't particularly care about having the original issue versus getting a reissue that is super mint and, you know, obviously at retail it'll be 15 to 20 bucks, then I would just wait, and that way you can pick up a new one here probably sometime, I would think, this fall. But time will tell whether that rumor proves true. Here was a beautiful VC12 Darth Sidious. This is the foil Ultimate Galactic Hunt version. Obviously, it's punched. I don't think I've ever seen an unpunched Galactic foil, Ultimate Galactic Hunt foil version. Let me know in the comments below. Have any of you guys ever seen like an error where the foil has been unpunched? I've never seen one personally, but this one was in pretty good shape, probably 85 plus condition. That sold for $165, so pretty big money for a foil Darth Sidious. Here was a non-foil Obi-Wan Kenobi with the free Boba Fett rocket firing offer. VC16, this is a Revenge of the Sith card. Beautiful example, just a little bit of wear on the card, around the edges, things like that, but this is the US card. That sold for 150 Australian dollars, which translates to about 105 US plus shipping. But let me know also in the comments below. I was thinking about at the behest or the idea of JS, who's a good friend of the channel. He was recommending we put together an Obi-Wan Kenobi collectibles prices video in honor of the new show that debuts this coming Friday. I believe the first 2 episodes launch on Friday on Disney Plus for the Obi-Wan series. So if you guys have any interest in seeing kind of a broader Obi-Wan Kenobi's collectibles sales price video, let me know, and I'll try to put that together this week. Next up, we had an unpunched Aayla Secura. This had the Darth Maul offer sticker. This was the US card, very clean. You can see the back of the card here. Great shape overall, just a little bit of waviness, maybe some very slight edge wear. That sold for $98 at auction, 23 bids plus $8 shipping. We also had a Nominor Skeletor. I have the power. Sorry, that's a terrible joke. This is unpunched US card. And again, this had the Darth Maul offer. And again, very clean, probably, you know, 85 plus condition. It looked really nice. And that one sold for $60 plus $8 shipping. That's a pretty good deal. You know, I've seen them sell very regularly for that on Facebook or higher. So I think that for a nice, clean, unpunched Nominor, that's a good price. This price was a little high, for, a shocker, given that we just had this one get reissued. But the 501st Clone Trooper, unpunched, Revenge of the Sith with the Darth Maul offer sticker, looked to be a really nice, clean card overall. That one sold for $207.50 on 44 bids, so a lot of bid action on that one. But I was a little surprised it stayed that high, just given that we've had the reissue come out. So that's just, you know, I don't remember off the top of my head what these were going for prior to the announcement by Hasbro that they were reissuing this. But 207.50 seems on the upper end, but it just shows you that there's always going to be demand for that original issue. Here's a VC69 Bastilla Shae. This was unpunched in a star case. Always tough to tell when they do photos just in the star case. It's just so much glare and kind of reflection in the case, but it looked very clean. It was listed for $190. It sold for $160. I looked up the sales price on that. And then this one sold at auction, and it came in pretty close to that. This one sold for $152.50 plus $10.85 shipping. So, you know, this one wasn't quite as nice. It had a little bit of edge wear in the upper right-hand corner there. But, you know, 160-ish seems to be about the going rate for a fairly clean, unpunched Bastilla Shae with the Boba Fett prototype offer sticker. Here's a VC96 Darth Malgus with the Darth Maul sticker, unpunched US card back, and also very clean. That one sold for $99 plus $24 shipping, or $80, or excuse me, 80 British pounds plus shipping. So, you know, I would say that's kind of maybe on the upper end of where this one has been selling lately. I've seen kind of like 65 to 85, so this was just slightly higher. Part of that might just be the conversion of the different currency. Two different VC100 Star Killers, I believe, sold. I can't remember if I put both of them in here or not, but this one sold at auction on 33 bids. $189.50 took this one home for a nice US unpunched card. Again, with the Darth Maul offer, but that was a really nice, clean card. This one's come back down a little bit. It makes you wonder whether collectors are hoping and praying that Hasbro follows up some of the recent gaming greats announcements and finally gets off their tail and puts a Star Killer on a Force Unleashed card back. I would love to have that one come out. So we will see if that happens or not. But $189.50, that seems to be a little bit lower than where this one has been selling here lately. And then here's the other one. This one sold for even lower. $143.01 took this one home, plus shipping. And again, it was the US card. Maybe just a slight amount of edge wear on the back of the card back, but very minimal, probably 85 plus condition. $143.50 plus, or $143.01 plus $9.45 shipping. That's a great deal. I mean, we've documented several on the channel not that long ago that have sold for $200 to $250. So to get that for, you know, let's call it $100 less, that's a pretty big discount. A couple of Shae Vizlas also sold. This one sold at auction, 29 bids, $227.50 took home this US card unpunched. Really nice, clean one. And, you know, that's down a little bit, you know, which kind of follows every other reissue that's happened. You know, typically the original issue right after the original issue right after the reissue gets announced or has been talked about, that typically does come down a little bit. And this one also was listed for $225. It sold for $200. So, you know, again, Shae Vizla pre-reissue announcement was very consistently selling for closer to $300. Even graded examples, we documented several that sold for anywhere from $350 to $450, depending on the case and the grade. So it seems like $200 to $225-ish is kind of the going rate now. For whatever reason, a number of different Kmart exclusive 2-packs also sold here this week. This is the Ewok Scouts Kmart exclusive. That one was listed for $90 plus $20 shipping. This was in Singapore also. And that one, the final sales price was $81 plus $20 shipping. And then we had the Indoor ATST crew. That one was in the US. That sold for $49.99 plus $10 shipping. It was at auction, but only one person bid. A second example sold for $57 plus $10.89 shipping. So that gives you a little price range there for the Indoor ATST crew. And I didn't know this. I just never noticed it because I never wanted to collect these. But there are two different scanning crews. We got the Death Star and then the Imperial scanning crew. This is the Death Star scanning crew. This sold for $69.99 plus $10 shipping at auction, one bid. And then here's the Imperial scanning crew, also a Kmart exclusive. That one too only had one bid, $69.99 plus $10.89 shipping. So gives you some data points there. If that's something you want to collect. Obviously, this packaging is going to become more and more familiar with these deluxe packs that keep coming out, as well as the potential for blister-free packaging. This one had this sale was for both of them. It was listed for $190 for both the Imperial and Death Star scanning crews. Again, it was listed for $190 plus $925, and that sold for $170 plus $925 shipping. A few other vehicles did sell. This was the Toys R Us exclusive Red Box X-Wing fighter. Beautiful box there. It had a little bit of crunch in the upper left-hand corner, as you can see there, but pretty clean overall, probably like 80 grade condition. That sold for $124.50 plus $12.30 shipping. And then this Razor Crest was an interesting sale. It had 9 bids. It was at auction. It sold for $640 on free shipping, but it was opened. And both mint on card figures were opened in little baggies. And then the baggy Mandalorian with the cloth goods cape was also open. So for an open Mandalorian, 2 figures that were no longer on the card back, the baggie that's no longer sealed, people still paid $640 for it, which again, we documented very recently on the channel, $700 to $750, maybe plus shipping. Let's call it $800 to $825 at the very upper end would get you a mint and sealed box plus the factory shipper for the Razor Crest. So that's a pretty big number in my mind for a loose Razor Crest and loose figures, but that is what it sold for. Here was one that was also interesting. This is the Millennium Falcon factory sealed, but you're looking at, a press release photo. You're not looking at the actual item, to my knowledge. They just used some of the press release photos. That still sold for $625 plus free shipping. And then to round out the video, we got a few graded examples. This is the VC-112 Imperial Sand Trooper. We've documented a number of examples ungraded, and this one seems to be pretty popular. This one was listed as unpunched, but again, you can see where that punch is just starting to come out of the punch hole. So be wary of that. But that one was graded AFA 9.0 gold level. It was listed for 700 Canadian, and it sold for 660 Canadian. So I didn't do the translation in terms of the conversion for the currency change to US dollars, but that is a big number, especially given that that punch is starting to come off of the card back. So here's another one. This is VC-128 Sault Marais, or Yak Face, if you feel like talking dirty to me. And this one was graded AFA 9.0 on the modern scale. As a side note, not to get into personal stuff here, but I do have on Rogue 5 Toys a CAS 90 grade. It's graded 90, 90, 95. And that one is on Rogue 5 Toys for sale right now for $100 US shipped within the US. This one sold for $100 plus $10.85 shipping plus your applicable sales tax. So I got a slight discount for a CAS 90, 90, 95. It's graded on the 3-tier, and it's the exact same figure. So if you have any interest, go check out Rogue 5 Toys on Facebook. It is for sale. Next up, we got a VC-181 Uncirculated 9.0 Mandalorian in the Beskar armor. Really nice example. This seller had 10 of them. 10 of them, and he's already sold 9 of them. One still left. That was $140 plus $15 shipping. So that's a big number, but it's a Mandalorian, and we all know that the Mandalorian is loved, and an Uncirculated 9.0 is a very nice grade. So let's call that $155 plus your state sales tax for a U90 9.0 Beskar Mandalorian. Took that one home. So that's all I really had for this video. I just wanted to document a few interesting examples of the vintage collection that have sold here over the last week. Thank you again to all my Patreon supporters, as well as my existing subscribers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing, and I'll be back soon.